Indian Navy that has now displayed complete sea dominance. On camera, powerful carrier battle-crowned in the Arabian Sea, maritime war assets which kept Pakistani jets at bay. It was the Indian Navy that deployed anti-missile war assets, Operation Sindhu. Immediately after the cowardly Pakistani-sponsored Pahalgam terror attack, the Indian Navy validated the anti-missile and the anti-aircraft defense capabilities. Now, there was a complex threat environment across platforms, and there was a cooperative mechanism which was adopted by the Indian Defence Forces. Operation leveraged Indian Navy's comprehensive layered fleet air defence mechanism, enabling very quick and clear distinction between commercial, neutral and hostile aircrafts. Even flying objects, those were some things that India was able to differentiate. Neutralization of threats was done at extended range. The carrier battle group with the integral air wing provided the first layer with regards to this layered mechanism. What you are seeing on your screens, posted by the Indian Navy. Indian Navy deployed anti-missile war assets and they became one of the biggest force with regards to Operation Sindhu. Powerful carrier battleground in the Arabian Sea. Maritime war assets which kept Pakistani jets at bay. It was the Indian Navy that deployed the anti-missile war assets. Indian Navy validated the anti-missile and the anti-aircraft defense capabilities.
A powerful carrier battle group with formidable offensive capability was able to operate with impunity and maintained an uncontested presence in the area of operations. Effectively, it compelled the Pakistani air elements to remain bottled up close to the Makran coast, denying any opportunity to be a threat in maritime space. The Indian Navy maintains a credible capability to detect, identify and neutralize any aerial platforms that threaten our units at sea. To sum up, the Indian Navy's dominance thus ensured that, should we choose to, we can strike at will.
My colleague Shivani is now joining me on the story. Shivani, very clearly, the visuals out there for everyone to see. It was India's dominance. It was the Navy which made sure that Pakistani jets, they were able to differentiate, and that actually became a big turning point.
Exactly, Aishwarya. We were listening to what the DGNO, Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod was also saying, that through the operation, we were deployed in the front seas, and on the Western Fleet, the INS Vikrant, that happens to be India's indigenous aircraft carrier, along with other components, it was ahead and it was very much operational in the waters, and it had actually controlled Pakistan's Navy to the Karachi harbour because they could not move ahead, they could not operationalize, they were in a very controlled position. And all that while, the Indian Navy was also neutralizing aerial threats using its components of the air defense systems that it has. It has the MiG-29K fighters that got airborne, and the early warning helicopters that prevented any kind of hostile attack on the maritime front. So this was a synergy between the Indian Armed Forces. The Indian Navy was also very much active through the operations. But initially, we were seeing the pictures of the fighters from aircraft and the air defense systems of the Army, the missile systems of the Army. But Indian Navy was a formidable force that helped these two forces to perform Operation Sindhu. And on the maritime front, the Pakistan's Navy was on a back foot, and that was a big, big factor, Aishwarya. And after Pahalgam attack, we've seen that several exercises were happening, and the Indian Navy was putting out pictures and videos of those exercises, including the firing of the BrahMos missile systems. So all this was happening to keep Pakistan in its area of the maritime boundaries, and Indian Navy was dominant all this while.
Thank you, Shivani, giving us all those details.